Well, hello there, everyone. Hopefully you're having an outstanding day wherever you might be. Today is Saturday, July the 16th, the year 2022. And I'm coming to you today, as always, or most of the time, from South Florida. And I have a very special guest with me today. He's actually in the country of Panama. So welcome to my channel, Luis. And how are you doing today?
Hi, Mark. Nice to see you again, and thank you for inviting me to your channel. It's a pleasure to be here with your people.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you. And for those who are wondering, I'll tell you briefly how Luis and I met. As you may know, if you watch my channel, I traveled to Panama about 2 weeks ago, and I ended up staying in an Airbnb. And Luis was the host of the Airbnb. So we had a chance to meet and talk at that time. So, but anyway, Luis, if you can, tell everyone just a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of take it from there.
Well, I am born in Panama, so I live in Panama all my life. I'm married with my wife is also from Panama. We have a daughter. Our daughter right now, she is 22. So we grow here in Panama. My wife is from a city in Panama, in the country of Panama, named Panama. So we travel a lot to Panama, where she has her family there. So right now we are living in Panama City, not in Panama. So I grow in the city, and I live in this Panama City, and she born in Panama, and she lived more of her life in Panama. So eventually we travel almost every 15 days to Panama to visit her family. Well, our daughter right now, she is studying in Spain. So we are a family member of 3. So that's where we met Mark in Panama. We host him, wife in Panama, for a few days. So we met there. And it was a pleasure to have Mark and his wife in our home. Now we are friends. This business of Airbnb, you can build relationships. So this is a relationship that started a few weeks ago, I think so, right? So this is but my story is simple. We lived 5 years between 2007 to 2011 in Buenos Aires, Argentina. That's maybe a different experience that we have as a family. And we lived there 5 years, and then we came back to our country. And since there, we are living in Panama again.
Okay, that sounds good. I just learned a few things about you too that I didn't know. So anyway, it's great that we have connected and we got to know each other a little bit. So I know I forgot to give you a link to my channel, so I know you haven't had a chance to really watch or anything. But after I came back from Panama, I did a video kind of on the pros and cons of Panama from my perspective, because I was an American. I've lived in the country, but I'm not born, and obviously I didn't grow up in the country of Panama. So I'll talk briefly on the pros, and I'll cover the cons real quick, just in 2 or 3 minutes. And then maybe if you want to respond in some fashion to whatever I say.
Okay, excellent. You can tell me your experience, and I will tell you my point of view as a Panamanian. Yeah, no problem.
All right, that sounds good. All right, so for anyone who is new to my channel, I went to the country of Panama when I was 20 years old. It was back in 1988. I was there for about 2.5 years. I was with the Navy, and I was stationed outside of Panama City, across on the other side of the canal from Panama City. And I had a great time there. I was young. I had a motorcycle. I explored a lot. And then I've been back several different times throughout the years, and I was just back just the other week. So from my perspective, the things that I like about Panama, as a whole, the people in Panama are very nice. They're polite. They're respectful. They're patient. Like when I was learning Spanish, they were patient with me to try to help me to better learn the language. It's a beautiful country. The country itself is quite diverse, from the large city of Panama City to small country towns. There's beaches on both sides of the country. There's mountains in the middle. So you can literally be at the beach and drive to the mountains in, 45 minutes or an hour, depending on where you're at in the country. The country is not that big, but if you're driving from Panama City up towards the Costa Rican border, it's probably a 6 to 7 or maybe 8 hour drive, depending on traffic and everything. So, but I really love the country, but as with anywhere, there are some negatives, and that's no matter where you're at in the world. Nothing is 100% perfect. So some of the things I've noticed, and most Americans, if they went there for the first time, they would pick up on this. If you fly into Panama City, like a lot of big cities, it's very congested and drivers are aggressive, and you will hear horns being beeped a lot. And when I lived there, I drove a motorcycle, so I learned how to use my horn a lot. And it stuck with me because even here in the States, I've noticed over the years, I will use my horn more than the average American. And it's probably because I used it so much while living in Panama. So it's just it's just how it is. And in the United States, if someone beeps their horn behind you, you're kind of like, oh, what'd I do? What's wrong? Or in Panama, someone beeps their horn, it's just, they might be telling you they're going to pass you. They might be telling you, hurry up, or they're not being rude, but it's just how it is. There's also a fair number of animals, such as stray dogs and then chickens and roosters, more so than you'll see in the States for the most part. And it's kind of like it's just part of how it is. I know there's organizations that will try to spay and neuter the dogs so there won't be as many strays. But if you were to travel there, you'll see stray dogs, and you'll hear chickens, or you hear roosters at various times as well. So what else? Well, I'm sure there's more pros and there's more cons, I'm sure. But just based on what I said, and this is just my perspective, and also my perspective as an American, once I get into Panama, I feel pretty comfortable. Like I don't feel, yes, I might stand out a little bit, but I don't feel like I'm a target, and I feel comfortable walking around. So anyway, I've talked quite a bit there, Luis. So what do you think?
Well, excellent. I think it's a good point of you being visiting our country. Well, I can start with the things that you like and you saw that are positive. Well, I think when you have the experience that the people from Panama are nice, well, I think it's because here in Panama, we are a country that have the diversity of cultures. It's one of our things that we grow with. We have, as Panama being, well, that's why the canal are built in Panama, because have a geographic position to be like a point of view of transit, even from the Hispanic domination. We are talking about 600th century. Panama was always being a country that is a route or a way to transit an international. Many people from anywhere come to Panama. So it's like if the way that we are. So we are used to have relationship with people from other countries. Here in Panama, we have a lot of cultures that we live with since we are a country. We have Chinese, we have a Muslim, we have from other countries, religions. So we are, the diversity is part of our, I think, positive things that we have. I can add that for the American people, you know that since the country separate from Colombia, it was in 1109, no, 1903, 1903.
1903.
1903, that's right, 1903. You know, we get a big influence from the United States in Panama for the construction of the Panama Canal. So since there, I'm talking about 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago, Panama, you know, we have an important American influence in our culture. So that's why we, I can say that we are one of the countries in the region that are used to have American products everywhere. In the supermarket, you can find any brand of any products that you only maybe can find in the US. Panama, we are used to find in any, and we are like customers that find a lot of products. So I think that for America, the Panamanian like used to be a part of our culture also. So we have a lot of influence and relationship. I think that's why most of the Americans feel comfortable when they are in Panama, because the people are used to them or used to the people that have come from America. I'm, you know, as you say, we are patient. We are not an aggressive people. We are very patient. I think that's good, but also that is bad. Because the government knows that we are patient and we are a lot of tolerance. And well, this is good for when you are a neighbor or you are a good friends. So we are patient, that's right. We have the diversity in the country. As you say, we are a small country. I don't know if you know that you can have breakfast in the Atlantic and you can have lunch in the Pacific. I don't know if there's another country or a country that you can have 2 meals in a difference from 4 hours only. Because you can go to the Atlantic side, that is the Colón city, and you in driving, you can be in less than 2 hours in the Pacific. And you see the both oceans in 2 hours. So this is a privilege that we have here in Panama. So we have weather all the year. We are like 80, 75 or 80s all the years in all the country. But you can go to mountains. So we have another weather there. So the points that you say, it's right for me. I agree. So this is what my point of view. And from your negatives, I also agree. The city, Panama City, if you come to, when you came from the United States and our international airport are in the Panama City, you have to cross the city to go anywhere in other country, part of our country. Panama City is a modern city. You can see in internet, we have buildings. The biggest building in Latin America are in Panama. So we have, the city is very modern. The infrastructures are very good. But this also bring negative things. As every city, I agree, we have aggressive drive. For us are aggressive. So if you came for a country that most of the people respect the law in the drive, you will have a shock at the beginning, because here you have to be aggressive at the first, because as all city, because I also live as I say in Buenos Aires, Argentina, that is the capital of Argentina, and also most of the capital have these problems. I think in Latin America, but I think that maybe in the US also, maybe not aggressive, but you can see here a lot of cars and you have traffic. it's very hard to get to one point to another, very close in distance, but maybe you can take 1 hour to get to one point to another in Panama City in certain hours. So it's maybe something that the people that came from other country have to expect in the city. But if you go to other part of the country that, many other cities in the country, it's very, very different. All the lifestyles, like slow in other parts of the city. That's why many people that came to retire to Panama, well, some ones decide to be in the city because they used to be in the city, and for them, the traffic and the congestion and the things that happen in the city, they used to, and they can live with them. But many other people want to retire in a calm place, so they look other places in Panama. And we have a lot of other places in Panama that you can live calm, not noise, not traffic. And I think it's the majority of the country, not the city of the capital. This is maybe the difference in between living or retire in Panama. If you want or live or used to, or doesn't have problem to live in the city, well, the city have a lot of infrastructures, all the hospitals, clinics, important, that also are international, are in the city. All the restaurants, kind of restaurant that you have, because we are an international country, and we have all kind of food you can find in the city. If you are maybe moving more to the interior of Panama, you can find a lot of choices, but not too much that you have in the city. Maybe this is some of the difference that we have here.
All right.
What do you think? What do you think? Do you agree?
I agree. Because I've been in different cities in the United States. I've been to South America before, like to Lima, Peru, and I've been in Ecuador and wherever else I was at. And big cities, by and large, they're similar no matter where you go. If you're in New York City, in the United States, you will hear a lot of horns. There'll be traffic jams. There'll be congestion. If you're in small town America, at rush hour, there'll be a lot of traffic. You might not hear as many horns, but just even small towns will get congested morning rush hour and afternoon rush hour. But Panama, that's one of the great things about the city. It is a lot of things to do there. There's a lot of different places to eat. From an American's perspective, for the most part in Panama, it's cheaper than the United States would be. But with that being said, in Panama City, there's places that prices are going up as well. So it's getting expensive. But when you said the interior is like the countryside when you leave Panama City. And personally, I like to visit a big city, but I don't want to live there. And I like being out away from the city. And some places I've been, and the farthest I've been is to the city of Panama, which is roughly a 2-hour drive from Panama. And I've been a little bit past it. But going to Panama, you have beach resorts, you have Coronado, you have Gorgona, I think it is, and you pass the Rio Hato, then you get to Panama. And as you go beyond Panama, you have Chitre, you have Pedasi, and you go all the way up to Chiriquí and David and Boquete. So, and I plan to go back sometime next year and visit more like the Chiriquí area and visit Pedasi and see more of that part of the country. But from your perspective, can you talk a little bit about once you leave the city, what you have as you go towards Costa Rica, like the various towns and such?
Okay, well, when you leave the city, you are ready to visit, and you have many options of towns and diversity kind of cities in the interior of Panama. What people like in these travels is because we have all the Pacific coast in all the road going to Costa Rica. Because this road that when you get out from the city, Panama City, and you go to this road is named the Interamericana because it's this road that if you go straight, you can go from Panama, cross all Central America, go to Mexico, and you can go to the United States. This is an international road that connects the Americas, all the Americas. So if you take this road from Panama City, it like go in the same side that the Pacific Ocean is on your left. So many communities that have oceans or the Pacific are built in this way. So there is a lot of resorts. There is a lot of towns that are close to the Pacific. There is a lot of residents, right? They are building, and there are a lot of projects for retire that they build with all the facilities that maybe a retirement plan or family wants to. There is a lot of projects, but also in the road you can find some like typical cities. Almost have the same infrastructure from the Hispanic constructions, and they all most are start growing many years ago. So you have all the facilities there, but the general infrastructure was the same that when the Spanish built it. You know, in the interior you have the Hispanic construction. They built like a Central Park, little one, and in the center of the town and around this park, little park, they build the church, they build the government, they build the police. So around this park, they like grow in the city. And this is like a typical Hispanic construction. You can see this type of construction or infrastructure in every little town in the interior when you are going there. What's happened in this way to interior that most of the country are always get start to modify their infrastructure, and you can find there always almost the most important banks. They are building more options for restaurants, many hotels or kind of place to you can sleep in the road. So there's many options. I think that's what I told you when we are chatting here in Panama, that it depends on what the family or people in the US are looking for retirement. Because someone want to the weather of Panama, that we are warm, tropical weather, and we are close to the ocean. So if the people or the family are looking for this, there's a lot of options. But they are looking for something that is like a mountain. There are also other options, but these kind of projects are like more far away from the city. You know, the country are not a big country. If you are in the city and you want to go to the Chiriquí, that is the place that we have a mountain. In car, you can take 6 hours in the road. So it's like not too far if you compare with the distance in the US. I have the opportunity to drive one opportunity from Maryland to Texas. So I drive like 17 hours or more. I have to sleep in the road. So 6 hours are not too far if you are used to drive this kind of distance. So that's maybe what you can find in the road if you were. Well, Penonomé is where we are visiting more because my wife is from there. This is a city that is growing. Is more. There have almost all the banks, or more restaurants, and it's like in the center, in the middle of the country. And from this country, this city, you can go to the other, as you said, Chitre, Coronado, the other places that are 1 or 2 hours from distance. And that's what people are doing. They like go to one place that it maybe are in the middle, and from that position, they can go to other countries and other cities or places to visit, because the distance are not too far. That's one of our privilege of the country.
Okay, excuse me. That all sounds pretty good to me, because I think I've said on my channel, once I came back to the States, it's like a part of me really misses the country of Panama. And I know why. I've said it like basically ever since I was stationed there in my early 20s. I've talked to a lot of different people, both in the Navy and then in my other jobs, that when I get older, if I can potentially retire one day, I like the idea of retiring into the country of Panama. And it's never really changed. I was just back a couple weeks ago, and I still feel the same way. It's like, if it was 100% up to me, I would at least give it a good try. Like I might not say I'm gonna completely retire there, but I might go there for 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, maybe come back to the States for a little bit and then travel back. Or, it's hard to say exactly what I would do, but if it was just up to me, I'd probably go there permanently. But I do have a spouse, we do have kids, we do have family in the States. So maybe we'll split our time, but we shall see.
Well, another like positive things is that you can get direct flights from most of the important cities in the U.S. from to Panama. If there are not the like direct flight, in one day and a few hours, you can be here in Panama from the States in any part of the country. So because we are used to have a lot of international flights here from any other countries. So I know that many people have or make that kind of plan, maybe to stay in Panama 6 months, then go back to their country, go away from their country when the winter is coming, and be here in the summer. So most have that, like not disconnected completely from their country, but have something there, but have an option to retire or have a property here. I know that many people will do that.
Right. That's very true. So, all right, Luis. Well, we've talked for a while, and and we've got to know each other even better. So I know we can keep on talking, but for my viewers, we probably should wrap this up before we get too long. So before we sign off, though, is there anything else you'd like to say, or any questions you might have for me about anything?
Well, I think that as a Panamanian, as I told you, I am used to live in the city all my life, and I used to live in a chaotic city, as any chaotic capital can be. I am always making plans to go to my retirement in the interior. Being a Panamanian, maybe it's an important thing to say, because when you are getting, I don't like to say older, but when you are getting that point of your life that you are planning for your future, for me and my wife, we know that a better quality of life will be retired in the interior of Panama. In this case, Panama, is because she is from Panama, and we have the property there. So I know that many people are in that same point of view, looking where can have their options. So in my case, being in Panama and have my apartment in the city, we are all also making our. As I told you, maybe in no more than 5 years from now, to go and move to Panama. It's a place that we know that it's lower, it's not rush from the city, and it's one of our planning. So I know that this, you have to think a lot of when to take this decision. So maybe it's harder for someone that is from another country to move to another country. It's a decision that you have to visit the country, you have to make relationship, you have to ask all that you can. So maybe I expect that this conversation will help many people from US that are thinking to come to Panama or other country, in this case, Panama, because it's I know it's a project of life to move and to retire. So, well, I know what this is because in my experience right now, we are thinking in that also, but not to move to other country, but it's an important decision. So I expect that this conversation maybe will help the people that see your channel.
All right, I think it will, because I'm sure there's somebody out there. It may be later today they watch this video, maybe it'll be a year from now they watch this video, and they might have been already thinking about Panama, and this video should give them more to think about. They'll learn more about the country and et cetera, et cetera. Oh, and one thing I'll do, like I said in the beginning, I met you because I stayed at your Airbnb. In the description of my video, I'll put a link to your house there in Airbnb in case anyone out there wants to visit and they want to check out the Panama area, because you would also, anyone visiting would also more than likely fly into Panama City and then travel to the Panama area. But the residence that Luis has, it's a very nice house. I did make a video from inside that house and I showed a little bit of it. I know the patio and just a little bit of the house too. So if anyone watches this and you want to see what it looks like, look at the link below. You can see pictures and you can find the video. I forget what I called it, but it's somewhere on my channel. And you'll see a little bit from that house. So, all right, Luis, well, we'll wrap this up. It's been great talking to you, and thank you so much for coming to chat with me on my channel.
No, again, thank you for your invitation, Mark. Hope to see you again soon.
All right, that sounds good. I will let you know when I do return to the country. All right. So for everyone, thank you for watching. Luis and I appreciate anyone who watches. If you have any comments, be sure to comment below. And if it's a comment for Luis, if you comment, I'll shoot him a message so he knows to look at it. Maybe he could respond to you. So as always, everyone take care, stay safe in all you do. And Mazske and Luis are signing out.
Bye.